everyone. So yeah, my name's Gareth Banfi. I'm the e-commerce manager at VentureStream. I've worked in e-commerce for over 8 years. I'm here to talk to you about the importance of gathering and using customer data through Google Analytics. It's vital that this is done and done well to measure the success of any marketing activities, as well as offering insight into your customer base and how they use your website. I'm sure most, if not all of you, are familiar with Google Analytics. It tends to be one of the first resources we look at when consulting with a new client. It gives us an overview of what they're doing well and what areas they could improve on. However, I frequently come across analytics accounts that haven't been set up effectively, meaning that years of results and audience insight aren't accurate or even there. It's a massive, real missed opportunity, considering a lot of the issues with it are pretty straightforward to resolve. I'm going to cover some of the more common issues we see with analytics accounts and briefly show you how these can be resolved. As well as this, I'm going to go through a few of the less commonly utilised features and show you the additional understanding of your customers that these can provide. So first up, one of the surprisingly common issues I see is duplicate tracking, where for one of a few reasons, each page load causes the analytics tracking code to trigger twice. When analytics has been set up, it's dead easy to fall into the trap of seeing any data come through and assuming that this is all working as expected. However, if this is tracking twice, it causes numerous issues. As you can see on there, your bounce rate will be close to 0. Every user lands on your page, it will be tracked as them viewing 2 pages, so no one will be tracked as bouncing. This means you can't get an accurate idea of how random pages are performing, and if you make changes to those, how that's impacting the user's decision to stay and browse your site. Page views and pages per session will be double because of this as well, meaning that you're under the impression that your site's getting more engagement than it actually is. There's a few reasons this occurs, but the most common ones are that the analytics code is installed twice, so it's in the template of the site and you've set it up through a separate extension. The analytics code might be installed on the site in a container in Google Tag Manager, or there's common bugs in certain versions of Magento that can also cause this. All of these reasons are dead easy to fix. It's either a slight code change or just removing one of the unnecessary tracking codes. You can see an example of this here. As soon as this issue was resolved, the bounce rate rose to an accurate figure, or the page view is halved to give you a more accurate reflection of your true site performance. Another often missed area is if your site has areas which are hosted on a subdomain, such as your blog or an external third-party checkout solution. These might require analytics to be set up separately from your site. Again, setting these up is pretty straightforward, but the content of these subdomains dictates whether you want them tracked from the same view, such as your checkout, or on a separate analytics property, such as a microsite. Another area where we see sort of common mistakes being made are referral exclusions and user exclusions. On the examples shown here, you can see that all of the traffic coming in is being allocated to the correct channel in terms of sessions, however all of the revenue is being tracked as a referral. This can often be missed if you have multiple payment methods on your site, meaning that some of these are tracked correctly but others aren't. It's usually caused when a user leaves your site to complete a payment, going to a payment gateway such as PayPal or SagePay. When the payment's completed and they land back on your site to the order complete page, analytics is treating this as a referral from the external site that they've just been on. It's vital to avoid this because you can't get an accurate idea of which channels are delivering revenue and the conversion rates of each of these. To prevent this from occurring, in the tracking info referral exclusion list, which is found within property settings, you can add the specific domains of any payment gateways that you have installed, as shown in the example here. So we've added PayPal and Stripe, which is another payment method. This will only impact any sessions after you make these changes, so it's vital that if this is happening, you kind of do it soon as, otherwise you're losing that data forever. Another type of traffic that you might want to exclude from your analytics data is that from specific users, such as your own office or an agency who work on your site. You might want to exclude this if you're frequently on your own site, so it doesn't skew session figures or your conversion rate, particularly if you've got quite a low traffic website where your own visits could make up a significant percentage of your sessions without any purchases. This can be done in the filter section of the view settings, where you can create a rule that excludes any traffic coming from a specific IP address or addresses. So now we're in a position where we've covered a couple of the more common sort of mistakes or issues with Google Analytics, and it's set up correctly. I'm going to discuss a few of the features that require a little bit extra work to set up, and because of that, I often see them not really being used. The first of these is site search tracking. This allows you to see what people are searching for on your site, giving you insight into areas where you particularly need to focus. If you've got a lot of customer demand where you're not really catering for those products, or even new product types that you don't currently stock, but there's a clear demand for. It It also gives you an indication of where your search results pages aren't working. If you see a specific term with a really high exit rate, it's worth looking at what's actually being served up for that search result term. Obviously, if there's products need to be added, adding those. If the results aren't relevant, sort of tweaking them and seeing what you can do to reduce that exit rate. Setting this up depends on the platform you're using, but to do this, you go into Site Search Settings, Found Under View Settings, and enter your query parameter. The query parameter is just the part of the URL that identifies your search term. So you can see in this example shown here from ASOS that this is literally just the letter Q as shown there for a search of shoes. If your site doesn't include this in the URL, you can still set it up, but it does require a small bit of development. Google have a straightforward guide on how to do this. The next feature I'm going to cover is custom channel grouping. So by default, analytics will try to assign any traffic that comes into default channels such as organic or social or email, but there's some situations where manually changing this yourself will improve your tracking. For example, certain search engines might come through shown as a referral rather than organic, or links within your email my campaigns might also track as a referral. The majority of these tend to be in the referral or other channels, but it'll depend on your site and what activity you're running to market this. Once you identify any of these issues, assigning the correct channel is dead simple. You just go to View Settings, Channel Settings, and select Channel Grouping. Within this, you can edit the default channel grouping to assign traffic from specific sources to the correct channel. So I don't know if you can read that, but basically what we've done there is we've seen certain webmail clients were tracking as referrals rather than email. So we've assigned those to the email channel using the sort of custom source. And that means that now your email campaigns will be measured accurately so you can actually see the results of those. Another feature tied into this is creating custom channels to go on Google's default ones. So for example, you can see here that we've split social into paid social and just organic social. This means if you're increasing your paid social budget and obviously seeing a huge increase in that, it's easy to track the results of your organic social separately. You could also do this on email, so having separate channels for campaign emails, such as newsletters, or as well as that, having them separate for automated emails, such as abandoned basket or lifecycle marketing, so you can kind of see the impact of those separately. Another useful feature within analytics are custom goals. Although the main aim of e-commerce websites is obviously to get people to buy things, it's important to realise that this isn't the only action a user can take on your website which adds value to your business. Examples of useful custom goals are sample requests, mailing list sign-ups, brochure downloads, callback requests. Obviously there's loads more, it depends on what your site is and what you're trying to sell. All of these make a customer more likely to purchase in future, so tracking them gives you a good idea of your site's performance, even if someone isn't buying there and then. It's particularly important to track these if you're using paid campaigns such as Google Ads. You might see a campaign that isn't delivering a high amount of sales, but it's actually bringing in users who are engaging with the site in other ways, which obviously you should take into account when you decide on where your marketing budget's being spent. There are multiple ways of setting up a custom goal, but the most commonly used tend to be either when a customer reaches a certain page, so such as they request a brochure, they go to a brochure request complete page, that would trigger the custom goal. Or you can have it where a user completes a specific event on a page, so they're on your home page, but they click on play a video, for instance, or click a subscribe button after entering the email. You can track that as a goal, and then we can obviously see where that users came from and which channels are delivering those types of users. The setup of them varies, and to be honest with you, it's probably not something we can cover in a little 15-minute slot because it completely depends on exactly what you're trying to track, but it's relatively straightforward, and Google has useful resources on how to guide you through this process. So one of the simplest features in analytics that often isn't used at all are annotations. All these do is allow you to add short notes into specific days in your analytics. It helps you make sense of your data by giving it context. So in the example shown here, you can see that there's two separate spikes in revenue, which are coinciding with sale activity. All we've done is click create new annotation. Notes can then be added to these so that when you review site performance, you know exactly what factors caused these changes. Although the examples here are for promotional activity, other changes you should consider when you're adding annotations are significant changes to your website. So if you switch to a new payment provider, you want to measure the conversion rate, you can obviously annotate and get an idea of when that started. Site issues, so if your website was down or there was issues with your checkout or something else, you annotate on there. Then obviously when you're reviewing that month's performance or the last year's performance, you can see the reason for that dip. Or external factors, such as if you get a mention from a large news outlet or an influencer and it drives a massive influx of traffic. Annotations are particularly useful when you're comparing year-on-year performance. They remind you of factors from last year that need to be taken into account when looking at results. And the last feature I'm going to discuss are multi-channel funnel conversion paths. Easy to say. These are found in the conversions, multi-channel funnels, and top conversion paths. And they give you a report that looks like this. These are really useful because analytics reporting tends to be focused on the last click. So if someone lands on your site directly, any sale from them is allocated to direct. Looking at these conversion paths give you a greater understanding of the user journey before purchase, giving you a more accurate idea in how customers are discovering and returning to your site. For example, we can see here that the value our paid search campaigns are demonstrating, where a significant amount of conversions are coming from people who've discovered the site in paid search and then return to purchase later, either directly or through organic search or another channel. It's important to take these into account when reviewing your marketing activity, because this gives you a quick and simple way to visualize where these users are coming from. And just to review, so I've covered a few of the more common mistakes in Google Analytics and how to sort of fix them, as well as a few of the more useful features that it includes. However, it's pointless having access to this accurate quality data unless this is used well, informing your marketing strategy both on-site and externally. My colleagues will discuss how this is used in their own specific areas, such as creating custom audiences and AdWords to target those who've been on your site but not purchased, or looking at landing page traffic to measure your organic search strategy. But one final point I'd like to make is the importance of how you display this data. So if you simply just share your Google Analytics account with sort of every stakeholder of your business, it's got dozens of different sections and people are just not going to look at it. They're not going to know where the useful bits are, what they should be measuring. So it's important to present this in a way that focuses on the key areas that help measure growth. One of the approaches we use at VentureStream is using analytics data in Google Data Studio, which will look like something like this. So this free tool allows you to completely configure what data points are displayed and how, giving you a completely custom KPI report in an easy to review format, such as the example shown here. Another key feature of this is, as well as pulling in data from Google Analytics, you can display results from Google Ads, Search Console, My Business, email campaigns, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much everything, all in one report. And it's all live data, so that your latest results are available instantly. It doesn't require someone to be compiling this all together and send out a monthly report. Obviously, covering the full potential of this isn't really doable in a 15-minute presentation. So if there's anything you'd like to discuss or any questions, obviously you can use the link up there or just give me a shout after the presentation. But for now, I'll pass you over to my colleague Ian to discuss SEO.